Well, what a weekend. I am just going to share that this is now live. If you are watching this relatively live, it's because you have received a notification. That means you are a subscriber to the channel. And it also means that you got a notification up and said that we are showing you that we are now live and on YouTube. Very quick update about that in a second. But I do want to let everyone know live reaction. So, now they hit that with live. Okay. So, quick update, because I was going to do this and talk about this on the show, and I will be doing about this in about an hour's time for Talking Con a Cup of Tea with Englishman in San Diego. Basically, the notification that we've been seeing popping up for the last month and a half in the top corner when we've been going live, that the Hangouts are going away. Well, that actually means quite a bit for what I do on a Sunday, because that means that, I won't be able to do the streams, purely because what I try to do on a Sunday with Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego, the two things that I wanted to always be a part of the stream. Hello there, Aaron, welcome along. Two things I wanted to make part of the stream permanently was, number one, guests. I wanted to talk to interesting people. That's what I wanted to bring to people. The first thing I ever did with the Hangouts was a live interview with David Glanzer from San Diego Comic-Con. It was part of the Google Plus community back in the day. And it was the first thing where we kind of got everyone on camera and we could have this conversation, this live, in-depth kind of to camera conversation with people from across the globe, and I thought that was really cool. However, now that seems to be going away. The only way that you will be able to live stream on YouTube as of 1st of August is like this. It's via webcam. There's no way of actually getting people into the actual chat and doing multiple heads like a conference call. That is, yeah, that's a deal breaker for me, I'm afraid, because that's what I wanted to do. That was my main goal. And then the next one was, of course, the interactivity. I wanted to make it live, and I wanted people to interact on the chat room and actually ask questions of the guests, and so we could have a full-blown round table with basically myself as kind of like the nub of the whole thing, but you guys make up the show. That's the plan. That was always the plan. And now it seems to be that functionality is disappearing from YouTube. So what I'm going to be doing, and I kind of alluded to this a couple of weeks ago, and now it's time to make it official. Basically, the show that is taking place next week will probably be our last one of this season. We may do something from sort of like a live stream from San Diego Comic-Con, but we don't know, depending on who's actually available, who's actually going to be free to speak to us on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. It'd be great to have someone on camera just to talk about how the weekend's gone, and try and get some live streaming coming from the convention center. But number one, signal's always a pain in the ass. And number two, it's just going to be awkward trying to find someone who's available to actually talk to us. That I totally understand. We may do a thing on the Monday as a breakdown, same drill. Let's see if he's available and who can actually talk to us. Fingers crossed. But at the moment, for now, the definite show that we are definitely doing is next Sunday, the Sunday before San Diego Comic-Con, and it will be kind of the last show of our season 6 as is. So that's where we are. I'm going to be taking about 6 weeks out. Okay, I'm going to be looking at different options. I've been suggested OBS Studio, so we can actually make up a full-blown virtual studio with some graphics on screen, stuff that's been fed through, and also we'll be able to feed through, for example, a Skype conversation, certainly getting away from all of the hassle that is going to be taking part with all the this business with Hangouts. I mean, it is. I mean, we've got Leanne D who's saying that's stupid. I mean, there's a couple of podcasts that I follow. There's a Drink and Draw that I follow with Dan Panosian, and some really high quality artists that I watch on a Thursday night, Friday morning. And it's basically a bunch of artists getting drunk and drawing and having a great whale of a time. And they're not going to be able to do that anymore, purely because as of the 1st of August, all this functionality disappears. What the unofficial blog are going to do, I have no idea, because they hinge on the same technology that I do. It's this live conferencing thing. So how it's going to work, we have no idea. That we're going to get a couple of weeks to get into. I mean, I will be still uploading videos, still be uploading stuff from the various conventions I go to, the interviews I do to camera. We did a great interview yesterday with the boys from Vice Press with Matt Ferguson, and also his co-founder with Vice Press, James Henshaw. Did that yesterday, and that was to camera, and we'll just see how we go. Hey everyone, YouTube is really going to end up losing a bunch of good content. Hope you can find a good solution to keep the Hangouts going the way you want them. That's the plan. I mean, like I say, one suggestion that has been given is Skype conversations, Skype group conversations, and then feed those into OBS Studio, which you would then feed into YouTube. It's a headache, but it's something I'm going to have to learn. So bear with us. Right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the day then. Don't forget, later on in about 50 minutes time, we are going to be doing our show with Aaron Nabus, Leanne D, and also Alyssa Franks is going to be joining us again. Been trying to find a newbie to join us because we had two lined up and then they both kind of dropped out. Either nervous, am I that scary? Really? More fluffy, really. Yeah, they dropped out. Either they had other things to do on a Sunday. Understandable, but yeah, it got a bit just a little bit awkward with trying to get somebody involved. So if you know a noob, if you know somebody who is attending San Diego Comic-Con for the first time, tell them to get in contact with us, because I think it'd be great to have someone on who isn't attending and or who is attending for the first time, and let's talk Comic-Con with them, because you know that's we want to kind of find out what they're actually expecting from the con this year. Because I mean, I'm speaking to people who have been going for years and they're not sure what to expect from it this year because it is so much in the air. So let's dive through the Sunday. What we've kind of discussed so far is that it's a little bit of while it's a little bit lighter from the headlining grabbing kind of perspective of previous San Diego Comic-Cons, there's more actual content of a niche level, which means you can, it's not going to be as crowded in terms of lines, which has always been San Diego Comic-Con's, or it's Comic-Con International's main goal, to break down the lines. It's going to be more of very specific fandoms. Particularly yesterday in Indigo and also Whole H, there is that element of people are going to be in the room for a while. But I mean, from my own perspective, if you are camping out 2 nights for Hall H on Saturday, you are a blithering idiot. You may be doing it because you've been told that's what you need to do. You do you, by all means, but that is not what I see as a strong enough lineup for that particular element. So there we go. Hello, Andy Bayback. Welcome along. Okay, so let's dive in. Indigo doesn't have anything in. Ballroom 20 doesn't have anything in. So the next big room, obviously, is Hall H. Yeah, we've got Leanne D saying terrible problems on Saturday with so many problems with overlap. So there you go. Hall H. Have I finished slagging off Hall H? No, we haven't yet. We haven't even started. To be fair, I can't see. I mean, I'm never going to slag off Hall H. It's still a unique experience, and to have that many people in a room getting into their fandom, I have no problem with it. So there we go. We are going to get into 6 BCF Super Catchick, and yes, Mark Serby has just reminded us this is going to be the last ever Supernatural panel. So let's start first. Then it is the first thing on 10:30 in the morning. Jared Padalecki, Jensen Ackles, Misha Collins, Alexander Calver, executive producer, singer Dab, Ross Lemming, Bruckner, and Robert Berens. Is their last appearance in Hall H. They have got a high bar to clear because they have had some epic supernatural panels in the past. I mean, what we're going to see for this one, considering it is an hour panel, who knows? But it is just very much going to be an emotional event. There's going to be a lot of fans that are going to be incredibly upset, as you can imagine. I don't think we're going to be getting Kansas again. I don't think they're going to repeat themselves to that particular regard. Maybe some other band. You may even get a little bit of a thing with Jared and Jensen, considering that the boys can play. They're actually quite a good pair of musicians themselves. So yeah, we may be getting some special guests as well from the history of Supernatural, but it is definitely going to be a farewell party for the final one. I mean, it's saying special video presentation. You're probably going to get a nice little sizzle reel, which you'll find on a Blu-ray a year and a half, 2 years down the line. But for now, that is what you're going to be getting. It is going to be an emotional presentation, considering that it is the 15th and final season on the way. So you're going to be getting previews of that. So there we go. That's Supernatural in Hall H in 10:30. Following that, you've got Riverdale. Now, we've got Americans who are watching this at the moment, and I would like them to jump in if they wouldn't mind. Can you please tell us just how popular Riverdale is in the States at the moment? Andy's just typed it out in capital letters, and I know the fans that are out there in force, that it's a real kind of a show that you really you get behind, and it's a very passionate fan base. But for me, it seems like it's a niche fan base, or it's getting smaller and smaller. It's a group of dedicated fans that, just, I mean, it's very much like Supernatural. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the audience is slightly shrinking, but it's diluting and getting stronger. Leandy, I don't know anyone who watches, and I have a teenager. Super Catchick, yes. Riverdale, with Luke Perry passing, this is going to be a tough panel. Yes, but surely the tribute to Luke Perry has been and gone with the musical episode. Yes, there's going to be some comments there, and it's going to be something that's going to be very strong. Yeah, I don't know. I every time Riverdale airs, there's not as much chatter as other programs online. It doesn't seem to generate that massive buzz. Andy Bayback, you say Riverdale became a worldwide hit because of Netflix. Yes, but it hasn't got the audience. Nobody really watches it on Netflix. I don't know. At the end of the day, we'll see when we have the audience in Hall H for Riverdale. I can't see it being a full room for it. I just can't see it. I just can't. But that's me. 11:45 through till 12:45. There isn't the Doctor Who. There isn't the big headlining, grabbing panel in this room. It's, I would say, particularly light. So you've got Mayans at 1 o'clock. You've got yourself the full cast, including Edward James Olmos, Sarah Bolger, JD Pardo, and this is a very strong show, but again, it is not something that has been garnering a massive audience. Dedicated, yes, but not necessarily Hall H filling. I just, yeah, it's one of those. And even when Mayans was just before Legion last year, it was kind of like the introduction to Mayans, but even then there was just kind of not the juice in the room. So who knows? But still, I mean, Kurt Sutter, he's very much in the kind of realm of Joss Whedon. He doesn't make stuff that you enjoy. He makes stuff that you love. Sons of Anarchy was something that the fandom loved. Mayans MC is something that the fandoms love. So yes, it's going to be another emotional and passionate fan base in the room. But that's it. Supernatural, Riverdale, Mayans. I suspect once Supernatural has done, a good half of that room is going to clear out, or the people that have in the room will clear out. I think Riverdale is going to be more or less a walk-in. I think Mayans is going to be a walk-in. This is going to be a walk-in room. There's no overnight camping for this particular show. Maybe for the Supernatural fans, the dedicator out there. But I think they're going to get in. It's just how close you want to get to the front. So there we go. Leon D, I'm so surprised for no Doctor Who. I don't know if they don't want to break any bad news. I don't know about Jodie. I don't know what that. Mark Serby, will the panel after Mayans be a walk-in? I suspect yes. I think it will. This is the Comic-Con 50 trailer park. Celebrates Comic-Con and Hollywood's long history with a selection of 30 years worth of era-defining trailers, which had previews or panels at Comic-Con between 76 and 2007, from the first contemporary film to have a presentation to the films that have launched the comic book-based blockbuster of the last 12 years. This would only be really good if you had someone from Comic-Con in the room to talk about the impact, or if they played clips from the panels. That would be awesome. Do that for a couple of hours. Play the trailer, and then play a clip from the panel. That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? I think that'd be fantastic. Andy Bayback, what's the bad news about Jodie? The rumor is that Jodie's moving on. We certainly haven't had any word really about what's actually happening with the next season. I mean, the showrunners have gone, but what's happening with Doctor Who? Have you heard any conversation? Because I haven't. It's another show that the chatter appears to have wound down. I'm just wondering if it's worth just to kind of a week, a year out, 2 years out, just to kind of, and then come back, boom. So there we go. Andy Bayback, I heard the rumor was mostly BS. It's just the lack of chatter that's concerning me about that. Super Catchick, I would have loved a huge Stanley tribute with a bunch of special guests in Hall Hedge instead of this stupid trailer thing. Again, agreed. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit more interactive. Like I say, clips of panels would have been amazing, just to sort of like celebrate Comic-Con and its impact on the cultural landscape, and bringing something to San Diego, and what that does for the film and what it does for its eventual success, or indeed not. So who knows? It would have been great to have, I don't know. I'm sure there's vintage footage out there. I'm certain of it. If they're not recording the feed off these cameras, I don't understand why they're not doing it. But there we go. Okay, that's Hall H. Let's move further down the rooms then. Let's go to I don't know where we should go really. Has anyone got any suggestions for rooms that people want to just check out? I mean, we could go for 6 BCF. Yes, 10:15, 3 panels going on in this room, which seems a little bit light. I don't know if we're going to be having some more stuff announced for this room, but 6 BCF, you have a world premiere of Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island, which is an all-new original film. Animated. Likewise with Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans, you have a full cast including Tara Strong, Scott Menville, Kerry Payton, and Greg Kipes, and also all the producers and screenwriters of that particular show, talking about this clash between the two shows, Teen Titans Go and Teen Titans. And then to wrap things up, you have something which I've not even heard about, Lego DC Batman Family Matters. Batman, Robin, Batgirl must stick together even when when Gotham's most dangerous villains attempt to pull them apart in DC Batman Family Matters. To be fair, I quite like the look of this just for the cast. Alison Stoner, Tara Strong, Rick Morales, who's the producer, Matt Peters. I think it's going to be strong enough, but yeah, who knows? But I think for that one, it's going to be Teen Titans Go and Teen Titans. Yeah, maybe too small room for that particular panel. That could have been nice in Hall H. But then again, I think Hall H can be a bit scary for some younger members of the congregation. So maybe this is a slightly more friendly room. Yeah, so there we go. It's just the 3 panels, but like I say, it's 10:15. These are all world premieres, so it's showing the actual films. 10:15 to 11:45. 12 o'clock through till 2, and then 2:15 through till, I believe, 4:15. So yeah, getting the whole thing. So there we go. So for the rest of it, it really is a case of just looking around. Andy Bebe, honestly, that thing that really deserved Hall H was CW's DC TV shows and the DC Universe presentation. Yeah, but you also, I mean, perhaps, okay, here's the question. That was a very strong lineup. Although my missus has correctly pointed out where was the panel for Legends of Tomorrow. What would be wrong with putting it in Hall H on a Sunday? So there we go. Legends is mid-season. So there we go. Okay, fair enough. I just find it a little bit odd for that particular thing. I get what you're saying, Andy. I don't know. What I could don't know what I could say to you about the thing. Mostly because the cast usually flies on Sundays back to Vancouver to film their new seasons. Take a later flight. You know what? Just yeah, come on, stick around. It's a day. For God's sake, take a day. You're trying to promote your shows, for God's sake. Okay, so let's start from the top and work down. Because if there's any other preference, do let us know. Andy Babette, this fall we're getting Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. This is the crossover to promote. Yeah, well, they tried promoting the last one, and the audience was kind of there. But there we go. Would like to come on air to rant about this? No. We're going to be talking about newbies and select new expectations. I'm multitasking. Just wanted to let everyone know the US Women's final just scored in the US. The women's team scored in the World Cup final. They're going to win it. Come on, it's year 4. Let's do it. So there we go. Right. Okay. As far as I'm aware, I'm going to just check. I don't believe the museum is open, and if it is, yeah, it's just doing a Sunday playback. There's nothing happening in the museum. They're not going to be getting anybody up to that place. Yeah, I don't know what on earth they're trying to do with that room, but there we go. Okay, let's go quickly down the line. The Marriott Marquis San Diego Marina doing a great job of getting some niche panels in there. We've had the podcast in. Now it's a case of some, I'm not going to say programming fillers, but you do have, for example, a panel called Dinosaurs versus Unicorns. Okay, you've got a 11-year-old dinosaur expert and a 9-year-old unicorn expert determining which characters, stories, and toys are for girls and which are for boys. I don't know. Actually, that could be quite interesting. That could be interesting. I quite like. I picked it out just to take the rip, but yeah, okay, that could be quite cool actually. A little bit more Star Wars. So it's more fantasy in Grand 10 and 11, and then a little bit more Star Wars and space in 12 and 13. You have Rescuing the Princess with Trina Robbins, Jeremy Whiteley, Sarah Grayley. That's not a bad little lineup, especially talking about the empowering of female readers, characters. That's an interesting panel, actually. If I was available, I think I'd even probably pop along to that. That's 10 a.m. in Grand 12 and 13. You then have a panel which is regarding the storytelling of sci-fi and fantasy. This is Space Wizards Quest to Define Speculative Vision. Tell you what, I could just start rolling all the way down here. So I think we'll just scroll through and see if there's anything that just absolutely jumps out at me. Okay. If there's anything that jumps out at you guys as well, please let me know, because I think this is the day for non-stop kind of stuff to it's niche programming. It's possibly your next new fandom. It's possibly the chance to go down to the exhibition floor, which is always a good thing. Yeah, let's go for that. Room 23 ABC. You do have something on 2:30, which is Comic-Con Now, 50 years of Comic-Con and now what? Hear from CCI board members and staffers Robert Donlan, Justin Duter, Maja Gates, David Glanzer, Gary Sasman, Mark Yult, and Eddie Ibrahim. Oof. Yeah, that could be very, very cool indeed. If anything, just to see what the post John Rogers era of San Diego Comic-Con is going to be. That would be the panel I'd be in, if anything, because Comic-Con nerd. That's what I do. But yeah, that's an interesting one. Following some fandom panels, including IDW Comics for Kids, Craft Magic in Young Adult Comics, and Fandom Meets Young Adult. You've got those two panels back to back. Comic-Con Now, and then the John Rogers Memorial, and then all that lot disappears and heads to the talkback panel. Who's going to be on that panel and who's going to be running it is a whole other ballgame. 24 ABC, 10 a.m., the tribute to cartoonist Baton Lash. I think we've talked about Baton a lot on my Facebook page and also on the show as well. He was a integral part of Comic-Con all the way back in the day. He was the husband of Jackie Estrada, who's the woman behind the Eisner Awards and also the souvenir guides, a major player, and someone who was a major character at Comic-Con. So that's going to be an emotional one. It's mostly going to be CCI players. They're going to be in the room. Robert Salkowitz is going to be running that, but you have the people like Bill Morrison, Dan Boy, Anita Bennett, John Cook, and Jim Pascoe talking about Baton Lash. I suspect that's also where you're going to find a number of Comic-Con bloggers who want to celebrate his life. 12 p.m. in room 24 ABC. It's going to be a presentation of a virtual guided tour through the Architect's 3D model of this Comic-Con museum. Okay. People are going to get the chance to go up and have a look at it. It's open this weekend. So you can either go and look at a virtual tour at this panel, or you can actually go to the actual building. I don't know. Previews of future exhibits and programs, however. So there we go. So that is, yeah, that's an awkward one. Sam Sykes is somebody whose world is seriously taking off as a writer, considering that one of his time-wasting Twitter posts has now been turned into a film. He's going to be an interesting guy to talk to, and that's a Q&A with Sam Sykes, room 24. ABC. Okay, let's go. Room 25 ABC. Doctor Who creating 13th Doctor comics. Jodie Hauser, David Leitch, Kevin Scott, and George Mann, all incredibly talented writers and artists. They're going to be on the panel from 10 a.m. So that's more really a Titan Comics panel than anything. Comic-Con in the 2000s and beyond, the likes of Eddie Campbell, Gene Ha, Jay Lee, Steve Sansweet, Kurt Busiek, Billy Tukey, and Kevin Smith, talking about what Comic-Con has been like for the last 9-10 years. So yeah, I think if Kevin Smith doesn't talk about Star Wars and how Star Wars fans left him in the lurch to go and see a concert, I think that anecdote is going to be coming up quite a lot. So that's in room 25 ABC. Let's have a look what else we got. A cover story, The Art of the Cover, Billy Tukey, Jay Lee, Charles Vess, and Althea Evelyn Martinez. I think I could have put forward some more artists, but I suspect most of the creative talent, the Artist Alley people, are wanting to be at their table. They're wanting to get that last minute commission done. They want to get that last minute amount of money over the counter. I've just looked at the time. I've just realized I've got maybe 10 minutes to do this. So let's blitz through. That's 2 p.m., 25 ABC, cover story, The Art of the Cover. Lots of comic art conference stuff in 26 AB. You've got in room 28 AD. I think the highlights for that include, for me, growing up with comics, introducing younger readers to graphic storytelling. Cecil Castellucci, Sarah Grayley, and Amy Mebison talking about the next readership, which is something I'm very interested in. Where is our next audience going to be? Because otherwise, if we don't have a new young readership coming into reading comics, this art form is going to be dead in the water, because it's us. We're getting older, and frankly, we need the next generation coming through. But it's something I'm very passionate about. We need the next level of readers coming through and getting them excited about what's coming next in comics. Okay, room 29 AB, right at the end of the day at 4 p.m. The making of Zero's Journey, the team behind Nightmare Before Christmas, Zero's Journey graphic novel, to learn about the comics creative process. Talking about the film that started it all, how it inspired the news story, and what it's like working with such an influential property. So there we go. Andrew English, I was out, didn't realize Linda was going to be on so early. This is about the time I've been on for these things. Don't worry, I'll be shutting it off and then heading upstairs, and we'll be doing the rest of it, the actual show, very shortly indeed. In about 7 minutes' time, I'm turning this off. Let's move on. Room 4, spotlighting on Jay Lee at 12. Spotlight on Joseph Michael Lisner, 30 Years of Dawn at 1. You do have a diversity in comics thing with John Jennings, Amandia Sternberg, Stanford Carpenter. How that's going to actually play out in the aftermath of Comicsgate. At the end of the day, Comicsgate appears to have been pretty much, if not killed dead, it's certainly a damn sight quieter in 2019. I think everyone's just realized that it's stuff and nonsense. So people aren't actually following it too much. 5AB, the slightly bigger comics panel. So you do have the annual Jack Kirby tribute panel at 10. The likes of Kurt Busiek, Buzz Dixon, Paul S. Levine, and Mark Evanier. Making comics the Marvel way. A whole bunch of Marvel artists and creators are going to be talking about how to get into Marvel, really. You have a live art jam, which is going to be with the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. At the end of the day, they have been bringing out some great people to represent them this year, so that's going to be quite a strong panel. And then at 1:45, Todd McFarlane is going to be talking about the upcoming issues 300 and 301 of Spawn. So he's going to be talking about that. I suspect he may also give you a little bit of a tease about the upcoming film that he's been trying to get off the ground for about 3 years now. Andrew Dickinson, is there a talk about panel? I haven't seen one. Bear with us. We'll see if we can find it. Okay. DC take over room 60E until 3 o'clock. You have a DC Sunday conversation. So you have Dan DiDio talking with a whole bunch of DC talent about what's coming up for them in 2019 to 2020. You've got Scott Snyder with his spotlight panel at 11:15. This is room 60E. DC Too Tough Trivia. So everything from Action Comics 1 all the way through to Doomsday Clock, with a bit of a quiz, and then wrapping things up with a Buffy musical episode playback. Once more, we're feeling it's a tradition at San Diego Comic-Con. In 60E, that room is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. 7AB, spotlight on Jonathan Hickman at 10 a.m. Like I say, I'm just picking out the ones that are catching my attention. If there's anything that you've spotted already, do let us know. 2 p.m., The Science of Spider-Man. Kyle Hill from Nerdist. He's going to be talking to a whole bunch of other YouTubers about Spider-Man. Well, why don't you actually get somebody from Spider-Man Far From Home to talk about that as well? I think that's a bit awkward. Okay, there's nothing really for myself that's just jumping out. It's, yeah, we're done and done. And no, there isn't a talkback panel. Wow. I don't know what to say about this programming. Shy of Hall H, which I also didn't think is the strongest lineup, and that Teen Titans Go panel. That's not great. It's very slight. maybe a chance for you to check out the exhibition floor, maybe a chance for you to check out Artist Alley, get those final deals, check out the offsites, see what else is happening around town. But for the panels, that's quiet. That's a bit of a damp squib to finish on. Right. I'm going to wrap this up in 3 minutes, and then I'm going to head upstairs. I'm going to get it all set up, and we're going to get everyone on to talk about the panels, to talk about what to expect from Comic-Con if you're a first timer. Because, like I say, we've been trying to get somebody to talk to come on, but we've kind of fallen a little bit shy on that one. Wow. I had a message from, I saw a message from Eddie Ibrahim, who's one of the directors of programming for Comic-Con. He seemed excited about the fact that people were saying that people were now finding themselves struggling to kind of balance and clashes between programming. And that he was excited about that, while people weren't focusing on the headliners this time around. People were going, well, there's this smaller panel. Actually, there's this other smaller panel. Damn, it's on at the same time. That's what he was getting more excited about, and that he was trying to do, that he was trying to fill out this programming with stuff that would have people's attention throughout the course of the day. I don't know about this. To look at Sunday, this feels like the air coming out of the balloon. And I don't want to say that about Comic-Con, because that's not what Comic-Con should be. It should be big enough to have so much more stuff. You could have moved the Warner Brothers DC stuff to Sunday. What about having Marvel Studios on Sunday for a change? Why couldn't we have done that? A lineup on Saturday night to get in for Sunday. Would that have been such a bad thing? Super Chick, I wish they could have spread out things a bit. So far, Thursday is the fullest day for me. Thursday was a strong enough start. I had promise for Thursday, and it showed promise for the rest of the con. I don't want to slag CCI off programming off, but this is weak sauce. Okay, it's now 22. Gives me a couple of minutes to get myself upstairs, get myself sorted. We are going to be doing Talking Con, Cup of Tea with Englishman in San Diego, with myself, Aaron Neighbours, Leanne D, and the rather marvelous Alyssa Franks back. So yeah, it's going to be fun to have the band back together. Don't forget, Mark Serby's on next week for our final show of 2019 of this particular season, season 6, before we wrap things up and we dive into San Diego Comic-Con 2019. Thanks for watching. Sorry it's not been the most energetic show, but I think that's purely because it's not the most energetic Sunday panel. Wow. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.